Part 3 follows the intense emotional revelations of Part 2, where Claire learned of Aidan's death through Owen, and the two began a tentative connection rooted in shared grief. In this section, the story shifts to explore the deepening emotional undercurrents between Claire and Owen, focusing on what remains unsaid, the subtle attraction, the lingering heartbreak, and the cautious steps towards something new. This part centers on internal conflict, tension, and the gradual opening of hearts, with a tone that is gentle but charged with mature longing and emotional complexity. Emotional atmosphere and tone. The ZMV tone of Part 3 is one of quiet tension mixed with gentle warmth. It carries a maturity appropriate for the themes of longing and heartbreak, where the characters are not swept away by sudden passion, but instead feel their way through a delicate, emotional landscape. There is a pervasive sense of restrained desire, a yearning that is not loudly proclaimed but deeply felt. The emotional mood is intimate and reflective, emphasizing subtle glances, fleeting moments, and internal struggles over overt actions. The growing connection between Claire and Owen in Part 3. Claire and Owen spend more time together, both formally in class and informally outside the classroom. These interactions serve as a crucible where their emotions begin to shift from mere recognition and grief towards something more complex and romantic. Shared moments. The story highlights the significance of small, everyday moments shared. Coffee, a casual conversation, lingering eye contact. These moments are tender and emotionally charged because they carry the weight of what remains unsaid. Mutual understanding. Both Claire and Owen develop a quiet understanding of each other's pain. Owen sees the sadness behind Claire's composed exterior. Claire recognizes the weight of loss and responsibility in Owen's young eyes. Unspoken feelings. Neither character explicitly states their attraction or emotional turmoil, but the narrative makes it clear through internal thoughts, body language, and tone. This show don't tell approach enriches the story's emotional depth. Claire's internal conflict. Claire's inner turmoil is the emotional core of this part. She finds herself drawn to Owen, not just because of his resemblance to Aidan or the connection through family, but because of who Owen is: kind, thoughtful, and vulnerable. Guilt and confusion. Claire struggles with feelings of guilt, worried that her growing affection might feel like betrayal to Aidan's memory. She questions whether she can allow herself to feel again, or if she must remain loyal to a love that is now a memory. Fear of judgment. As a professor, Claire also fears the professional and social consequences of any emotional involvement with a student. This fear adds complexity to her feelings, making the attraction feel both forbidden and dangerous. Yearning for connection. Despite her fears, Claire feels a deep yearning for human connection. Her loneliness and past heartbreak have left her space in her life that Owen's presence threatens to fill. Owen's perspective and vulnerability. Owen, too, is navigating complex emotions. Having lost his brother, he finds in Claire a link to the family and memories he cherishes, but also someone who understands grief on a personal level. Respectful distance. Owen is careful not to rush or push Claire. His respect for her position and emotions shows his maturity and sensitivity. Quiet longing. Beneath his composed exterior is a longing for something more, a desire to belong, to heal, and perhaps to love again. His presence in Claire's life becomes more than academic. It is personal and deeply emotional. Fear of rejection. Owen fears that Claire might reject him or be unwilling to engage emotionally because of their age difference, their roles, or the past they share. The theme of forbidden and complicated love. Part 3 delves into the theme of love that is complicated by social and emotional boundaries, teacher-student dynamic. The power imbalance and social expectations create tension. Claire's role as a professor means she must carefully navigate professional ethics, adding an element of restraint to the romance. Age and experience. There is an implicit age gap and difference in life experience between Claire and Owen. This gap complicates their feelings, as both are sensitive to how others might perceive their connection. Past versus present. Claire's loyalty to Aidan's memory conflicts with her growing feelings for Owen, creating an emotional tug-of-war that resonates with the universal human struggle of balancing past love and new possibilities. Symbolism and imagery. Symbolism enriches Part 3, subtly highlighting the emotional currents. The classroom as a microcosm. The classroom, usually a space of order and knowledge, becomes a place charged with personal tension and quiet intimacy. It symbolizes the intersection of public and private worlds for Claire. Changing seasons. The progression of fall to early winter reflects the emotional thaw in Claire's heart, moving from cold solitude toward warmth and vulnerability. Light and shadow. Descriptions of light such as sunlight filtering through windows or the soft glow of a lamp during late-night study sessions mirror moments of hope and connection. Amid shadows of doubt and fear. Character, growth and emotional depth. Both Claire and Owen show subtle but meaningful growth in this part. Claire begins to accept her feelings, though cautiously. She learns to acknowledge her loneliness and desire for closeness without self-judgment. Owen gains confidence in his place in Claire's life, understanding that his presence can be a source of comfort rather than just a reminder of loss. Their emotional growth is portrayed with nuance, avoiding cliches and melodrama, which makes their journey feel authentic and relatable. The role of secondary characters and social context. While the focus remains on Claire and Owen, glimpses of secondary characters and social context add realism. Colleagues and students. Claire is aware of the eyes on her, colleagues who might gossip, students who look up to her. This awareness intensifies her need for discretion and adds pressure. Family expectations. Owen's family, though not directly shown, looms as an unseen force. Their feelings about Claire and his life choices are an implicit concern for Owen. This social backdrop enriches the drama, grounding the romance in believable challenges. Dialogue and communication. The dialogue in Part 3 is marked by subtlety and restraint. Conversations between Claire and Owen are often layered with meaning beneath simple words. Silence and pauses are just as important as spoken words, conveying hesitation, yearning, or unspoken fears. Their exchanges reveal trust slowly building, setting a foundation for deeper emotional intimacy. The emotional hook and cliffhanger. Part 3 ends on a moment charged with emotional tension. Perhaps a close but carefully controlled moment of contact, a lingering glance, or a shared secret that hints at the possibility of more. The cliffhanger is a question hanging in the air. Will Claire allow herself to follow her heart? Will Owen risk opening himself fully to her? This unresolved tension keeps readers emotionally engaged and eager to see how their relationship unfolds. Broader themes explored the power of unspoken emotions. The story shows how much communication happens in what is not said. Glances, body language, silences, emphasizing emotional honesty in subtle ways. Healing through connection. Both characters illustrate the idea that love and connection can be a path to healing old wounds. The complexity of adult relationships. The story acknowledges that love is rarely simple. It's layered with history, fear, societal expectations, and personal growth. Why Part 3 resonates with the audience's emotional authenticity. The portrayal of cautious, mature love with all its doubts and fears resonates deeply with readers who Appreciate realistic romantic narratives. Relatable conflicts. The struggles around boundaries, grief, and new love are universally understood, making the characters' journeys feel personal and meaningful. Hope and restraint. The gentle pacing and subtle emotional build appeal to an audience that enjoys romance without rush or melodrama, preferring emotional richness and complexity. Summary of key emotional beats in Part 3. Increasing emotional intimacy between Claire and Owen, marked by shared moments and quiet understanding. Claire's internal conflict about loyalty to the past and openness to new feelings. Owen's respectful longing and his fear of rejection. The tension created by professional, social, and emotional boundaries. The use of symbolism and setting to mirror the characters' emotional states. A powerful emotional cliffhanger that leaves readers eager for the next step in their relationship. Conclusion. Part 3. The unspoken yearning is the emotional heart of the story's romantic arc. It explores the delicate, often painful process of opening oneself to love again after loss. Through subtle, mature storytelling, it captures the complexity of desire, grief, and hope, all set within a framework of respect, restraint, and deep emotional connection. This part moves the story beyond initial shock and grief into the realm of tentative love, setting the stage for the romantic and dramatic resolutions to come. It invites readers to feel the beautiful ache of unspoken emotions and the quiet courage it takes to embrace new possibilities. In Part 2, the story moves from that initial shock to the first real, direct interaction between Claire and Owen. This section is crucial as it reveals key emotional layers, deepens the characters, and starts to set the tone for the unfolding relationship. It also introduces important backstory and new tensions that propel the narrative forward. Tone and mood. The emotional tone of Part 2 is bittersweet, tinged with sadness, warmth, and the fragile hope that the story will allow. Claire's is carefully maintained composure begins to crack as she processes the sudden wave of memories and grief that Owen's presence awakens. The mood is quiet and intimate, heavy with the weight of loss, but also with a delicate tenderness. The mood conveys a sense of slow emotional awakening, as if Claire's heart, long dormant, is starting to pulse again, hesitantly and with some fear. There's also a palpable tension between the past and present, between hope and fear, between silence and unspoken truths. Narrative focus. The first conversation. The best focal point of Part 2 is the first meaningful exchange between Claire and Owen, which happens immediately after class. This conversation is layered with subtext, revealing much about both characters. Claire's reaction shows her vulnerability and hesitation. She tries to maintain professionalism, but cannot hide her emotional pain. The dialogue is minimal but loaded with meaning. Owen's approach is gentle and respectful, indicating that he's not there to cause chaos or stir old wounds recklessly. Instead, he seeks connection and understanding, both of Claire and of the brother he lost. Claire's emotional landscape. Claire's reaction to Owen's words and presence is the heart of this part. We see a woman grappling with complex feelings, surprise and disbelief. Claire initially struggles to process that the young man sitting in her class is not just a student but deeply connected to her past. This recognition shakes her world and disrupts her emotional equilibrium. Grief resurfacing. Hearing that Aidan has passed away 3 years ago brings back the pain Claire had long tried to suppress. The fact that Owen mentions this gently suggests that Owen understands how sensitive this topic is. Nostalgia and love. Claire's memories of Aidan are described through subtle cues. Stolen kisses, promises whispered, and painful goodbye. These aren't just memories. They are emotional echoes that still live inside her, making her current reality feel charged with longing, fear, and hesitation. Claire is afraid of what Owen's presence might mean. She's built walls around her heart to protect herself, and now those walls risk crumbling. This fear is palpable in her silence and her gentle but guarded responses. Owen's perspective and intentions. Though Part 2 primarily focuses on Claire, Owen's dialogue and demeanor reveal his own emotional depth, connection to his brother. Owen carries the memory of Aidan with him. His arrival at college, enrolling in Claire's class, and his quiet approach indicate he is trying to understand a part of his brother's life he never fully knew. Respect and sensitivity. Owen does not demand answers or force confrontation. He approaches Claire with care, showing a maturity that contrasts with his youth. This makes him a sympathetic figure and adds nuance to his character, seeking closure and understanding. Owen's question, "How is he?" is loaded. It's both a literal question and a metaphorical reaching out for closure and understanding of the loss that affected both their lives. The significance of loss and grief. Part 2 deepens the story's exploration of loss and how it binds people together in unexpected ways. The death of Aidan is not just a plot detail. It's a powerful emotional undercurrent shaping both Claire and Owen. Shared grief. Though Claire and Owen never explicitly discuss their feelings in detail, the silence between their words speaks volumes. They share an unspoken bond rooted in their love for Aidan. Impact of sudden loss. The fact that Aidan died in a motorcycle accident adds a tragic immediacy. It reminds readers how sudden and irrevocable loss can be, intensifying the story's emotional stakes. Memory as a living thing. The story suggests that memory is not static. It moves and breathes, especially when carried by those who loved the person who is gone. Claire and Owen's meeting is a moment where these memories collide, creating an emotional fusion that is both painful and hopeful. The role of dialogue and silence. The conversation between Claire and Owen is sparse but meaningful. The story uses pauses and what's left unsaid to convey emotional depth. Claire's short answers and hesitant questions indicate her reluctance to open up, but also her willingness to engage on a delicate topic. Owen's calm voice and simple statements convey maturity and an understanding that words are sometimes inadequate to express the complex emotions they both carry. The silence in between their exchanges is as important as the dialogue, allowing readers to feel the weight of their unspoken thoughts, grief, regret, longing, and the possibility of healing. The theme of unfinished stories. Part 2 hints strongly at the idea that some stories don't end with loss, but continue in different forms. Owen's presence in Claire's life is symbolic of a continuation, not just of Aidan's memory, but potentially of love and connection. Legacy of love. Owen carries his brother's legacy, and through him, Claire might find a new way to experience love, one that honors the past but is not bound by it. Second, chances. The narrative subtly introduces the possibility that Claire's story with love is not over. Owen's arrival might represent a new beginning, or at least the opportunity for healing. Setting and symbolism. The setting continues to play an important role in deepening the emotional resonance. The classroom, once a place of safety for Claire, now feels charged with new meaning. It is where the past and present collide. The changing seasons outside the window, referenced subtly, symbolize transition. Autumn's gold and fading light represent endings but also promise rebirth, mirroring Claire's emotional journey. Character development and relatability. The end of Part 2. Readers see both Claire and Owen as fully realized characters, each with their own emotional scars and hopes. Claire is not just a professor, but a woman who once loved deeply and suffered heartbreak. Her vulnerability makes her relatable to anyone who has had to protect their heart. Owen is more than a student. He's a young man carrying his own grief and searching for understanding. His respectfulness and quiet strength make him sympathetic and intriguing. This layered character development encourages readers to invest emotionally in their journey. The cliffhanger and emotional hook part 2 ends with Claire sitting down, overwhelmed by the news of Aidan's death and the sudden reappearance of a past she thought was closed. The emotional cliffhanger lies in Claire's internal struggle. She has been confronted with loss again, and is forced to face the feelings she buried. Readers are left wondering, how will Claire handle this? What does Owen really want? Will their connection bring healing or more pain? This soft but powerful hook keeps readers emotionally engaged, eager to discover what comes next. Broader themes and messages part 2 expands the story's emotional and thematic scope by exploring the lasting impact of first love and loss. It shows how early, profound relationships leave indelible marks on our lives. The intergenerational ties of grief and love. The connection between Claire, Owen, and Aidan highlights how love and loss ripple through families. The courage to face painful memories. Both characters demonstrate emotional bravery by confronting their past, a key step toward healing. The possibility of renewal. Amid grief, the story plants seeds of hope, suggesting that even broken hearts can find new paths. Why part 2 matters for the audience, for readers, especially adults who have experienced love and loss. Part 2 resonates deeply. It captures the universal experience of encountering reminders of past love and loss unexpectedly. It portrays grief with nuance and tenderness, avoiding melodrama while inviting empathy. It introduces complex but relatable characters, navigating emotional boundaries, a theme relevant for many. It sets up a mature, romantic story that is thoughtful and emotionally rich, fitting well with storytelling audiences in the US and Canada, who appreciate heartfelt narratives. Summary of key emotional beats in part 2. Claire's shocked recognition. An emotional fragility when confronted with Owen's presence. Owen's respectful, gentle approach, and his revealing of Aidan's death. The shared but unspoken grief, and the connection formed through memory. The tension between professional roles and personal history. The quiet hope that the story might offer a second chance or healing. Conclusion part 2. The echoes of a name. Is a beautifully crafted chapter that deepens the emotional complexity of the story. It moves from the initial shock of recognition to a tentative first conversation filled with grief, tenderness, and unspoken longing. The meeting of Claire and Owen is more than a reunion with the past. It is the stirring of something new, something fragile and hopeful. Setting the scene. The story opens on a crisp autumn morning in Vermont, a setting that immediately evokes a sense of calm, change, and nostalgia. The gentle decay of the golden leaves and the cool breeze are more than just background details. They mirror the emotional state of the protagonist, Claire Hartley. The transition from summer to fall symbolizes transformation, endings, and new beginnings, perfect for the moment when Claire's carefully guarded past is about to resurface. Vermont, known for its picturesque small towns and charming colleges, is the ideal place for a story about introspection and rekindled emotions. The campus feels intimate, not vast and overwhelming like a huge city university, but small enough that the past can walk in and be recognized instantly. This setting prepares readers to expect a story that will be personal, emotionally rich, and quietly dramatic. Introducing Claire Hartley. Claire Hartley is a literature professor in her late 30s. From the start, She's presented as a gentle, mature woman who has chosen a path shaped by both passion and pain. She loves teaching literature, especially modern American poetry, and finds sanctuary in the classroom. The way she reads poems, like they were something sacred, hints at her sensitivity and depth, her belief in the power of words to heal, connect, and reveal hidden truths. Yet beneath this calm exterior is a woman who has long remained closed. Claire's life after heartbreak has been safe but lonely. She has poured herself into her work and created walls around her heart to protect herself from further pain. Her students love her for her warmth and kindness, but Claire never lets anyone truly close. This emotional distance is key to understanding her character and the impact the upcoming encounter will have. The quiet past. The story quickly establishes that Claire's past holds a significant heartbreak. While the specifics are not revealed immediately, readers sense that the wound is deep and formative. The heartbreak that had quietly broken her open suggests something profound, likely related to lost love, which has shaped Claire's cautious approach to relationships. This sets a melancholic tone that underpins the story and makes readers curious about what happened. The first day of class, the unexpected encounter. The narrative takes a sharp emotional turn when Claire's eyes meet a student who instantly stirs something inside her. The moment is electric and shocking because this young man, Owen Callahan, isn't just another student. There's an unmistakable familiarity about him that unsettles Claire. The description of him as tall, lean, and confident contrasts with the usual younger students she teaches, immediately hinting that Owen is different. When Claire realizes Owen's last name, Callahan, a flood of memories hits her. She recognizes it not just as a common surname, but as the name of Aidan Callahan, a man she once loved deeply. This revelation creates instant tension and intrigue. Owen, Aidan's younger brother, has unknowingly entered Claire's world, stirring emotions she believed she had locked away. The emotional impact on Claire. The shock Claire feels is multi-layered. It's not only about the surprise of seeing someone so connected to her past, but also about what this means emotionally and practically. Claire's breath catches in her throat, a small but telling physical reaction indicating her internal turmoil. This moment encapsulates the complex feelings she experiences: nostalgia, longing, fear, and maybe even hope. At this point, the story invites readers to empathize with Claire's vulnerability. Here is a woman who thought she had moved on, only to find herself face to face with a living reminder of a love she lost. The fact that Owen is her student adds another layer of complication, mixing professional boundaries with personal history. The underlying themes introduced: memory and the past's grip. The story opens with a theme that will resonate throughout: how the past shapes the present. Claire's encounter with Owen is a literal manifestation of how old memories don't fade. They reappear unexpectedly and demand attention. Love and loss. From the very start, love is entwined with loss. Claire's quiet heartbreak colors her current life, and the arrival of Owen hints at the possibility of revisiting those feelings, perhaps even healing them. Change and new beginnings. The autumn setting, combined with the sudden reappearance of the Callahan name, sets the stage for transformation. Claire's carefully maintained world is about to shift in unpredictable ways. Boundaries and connection. The tension between professional roles, professor and student, and personal history introduces the theme of boundaries, emotional and social, which will become crucial as the story unfolds. Claire's inner conflict. Throughout this opening part, Claire is caught between conflicting emotions. She wants to maintain control, to keep her professional demeanor intact, but her heart is betraying her. The recognition of Owen is not just a shock but also a temptation. a reopening of feelings she thought were safely locked away. Her instinct is to mask her feelings, to hide her breathlessness with a cough and not let her surprise show. This behavior reveals her experience and emotional maturity, but also her fear. Fear of what Owen's presence means. Fear of stirring up past wounds. Fear of losing the safety she has built around herself. Owen's entrance. Though part 1 focuses mostly on Claire, the brief introduction of Owen is powerful. He is presented as a calm, quietly confident young man who is more than just a typical student. His presence hints at a deeper purpose. He's not there just for a class, but for something more personal. The fact that Owen takes a front row seat symbolizes his intention to be seen and heard, not just as a student, but as someone important. He's stepping into Claire's world with deliberate courage. Narrative style and emotional tone. The story is simple. Clear language mirrors Claire's own restrained emotions. The gentle, mature tone invites readers into an intimate, almost private space. Claire's classroom, her heart, and the fragile moment of recognition. The pacing slows at key moments to let readers feel Claire's shock and hesitation. The imagery of the autumn leaves and the quiet classroom enhances the emotional texture, making the story feel warm yet tinged with melancholy. Cliffhanger and hooks. The first part ends with a natural and emotional cliffhanger. Claire's breath catching, her cough concealing surprise, and the silent question. Why is Owen here? What does he want? This open question propels the reader forward, hungry to understand the unfolding drama. It's a soft hook, subtle but effective, that promises more revelations and emotional depth to come. Readers are left with the sense that Claire's life is about to change, but the direction and consequences remain unknown. Key takeaways and emotional beats from part 1. Claire is a deeply sensitive, emotionally scarred woman who hides her pain behind professionalism and kindness. The autumn setting symbolizes change and the resurfacing of old emotions. Owen's unexpected arrival challenges Claire's careful emotional boundaries and reopens the past. There is a strong tension between past love and present roles, setting the stage for drama and romance. The narrative invites empathy, curiosity, and a gentle longing, perfectly matching the story's mature, heartfelt tone. Expanded exploration of themes 1. The lingering power of past love. The story immediately engages with the idea that love, especially first love, never really leaves. US. Claire's life has been shaped by her relationship with Aidan Callahan, and now, years later, that connection returns through his brother. This sets up an emotional exploration of how we carry love and loss through time. 2. Healing through connection. Claire's encounter with Owen opens the possibility that healing might come not by forgetting, but by facing the past, and allowing new relationships to grow from it. The story gently suggests that love can be passed on, not replaced, and that pain can become the soil for new growth. 3. The complexity of boundaries. The teacher-student relationship is a source of inherent tension and raises questions about appropriate connections, power dynamics, and vulnerability. This complexity adds emotional realism and moral depth to the story, making it relatable to adult audiences. 4. The quiet strength of women. Claire's character embodies a quiet, mature strength. She is not reckless or impulsive, but thoughtful and guarded. This makes her journey feel authentic and poignant, as she navigates the possibility of opening her heart again after heartbreak. Why? This works for the audience for readers in the US and Canada. The story's setting and characters feel familiar and accessible. A small college, a literature professor, and students who are slightly older returning to school. The emotional themes of lost love, longing, and rediscovery are universal. that the story's gentle, refined tone makes it particularly suited to an audience that appreciates mature romance and heartfelt storytelling. The opening's slow emotional build and the relatable characters create a connection right away, drawing readers in without rushing the plot or overwhelming them with drama. This approach fits perfectly with storytelling channels and audiences who seek emotional resonance and romantic tension in a classy, tasteful way. Part 2 picks up right after the emotional shock of Part 1, where Professor Claire Hartley unexpectedly discovers that one of her students, Owen Callahan, is the younger brother of Aidan Callahan, the man she once loved deeply and lost. The first part ended on a cliffhanger with Claire's breath catching at this sudden encounter, a mixture of surprise, nostalgia, and unresolved feelings flooding her.